Hello everyone and welcome back. I am so excited for today's video because it's my very first Q&A and it's going to be all about photography related stuff, how I got started, Instagram, all that jazz. I asked you on Instagram what you wanted to know and boy did you bring the goods. I am so excited to answer these. There's some really good ones in here and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be reading off of this, so don't think I'm browsing. First question, how did you get started in photography and do you have any formal training? How much time do you have? Just kidding, I'm gonna condense it. I started photography in 2006 in my junior year of high school, so it's been a very long time of learning and practicing and everything you can think of. So after photo 1, I went into photo 2 my senior year, and halfway through my senior year, I decided to pursue it as a career, and I ended up going to the Art Institute in Seattle, and that was a huge move for me because I was living in San Diego at the time, and it was the best experience ever. I got my ass kicked. That school is no joke. It's really intense, but I am so glad I put myself through that. And at such a delicate age, I would say that the tears were warranted. So at Art Institute, we learned everything from large format film, which is crazy. We learned studio lighting, on location lighting, editorial, commercial, advertising, marketing, how to run a business, so many things. It was so beneficial to what I do now. So after I graduated, I moved back down to San Diego in 2010 and I started to hit up all these local boutiques to see if I could shoot for them, anything lookbook related, fashion related. I just wanted to do that so badly, and at the same time, I started getting hit up by people that I knew from the past who needed weddings done or portraiture stuff, and that whole thing snowballed into a whole other situation where I just was slammed with that kind of work all the time in conjunction with other part-time jobs, babysitting, and I just remember being so overwhelmed all the time. It was like the norm where I would get off work, edit until late at night, wake up early in the morning, do a blog post so that I could show what I was doing to get more jobs, and then I would repeat every single day, weekends, every night, every morning. It was like insane, but worth it. I shot for free so often, and I think that that attributes to a lot of my work now, because looking back, I made so many connections by doing that and putting myself out there that some of those connections have come back into my life now and are very beneficial at this point. So highly recommend shooting for free if you can at first, or for an extremely discounted rate, and I mean like next to nothing. Nothing wrong with doing that. I think that there's so much value in it, not only to learn, but to just grow in general. All about it. So at the same time that I was beginning to freelance and have that be a part-time thing where I wanted to get it going full-time, I started my Instagram in 2010, and that was a whole other story, and I didn't even know how to accept a friend request because, I mean, think back to when you started, you know what I'm saying? So right around the time I started to get my footing with my business in terms of just being so slammed with weddings and portraits and everything you can think of, I got featured as a suggested user on Instagram in 2014. So that changed everything. And that basically means that you get chosen to be highlighted as a person to follow to the entire Instagram community. And it was so crazy because I didn't know what was happening. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know how people got that many followers. It was a wild night. After that, I started working with brands doing trade collaborations. I got some paid collaborations, and I started to realize that I could make this into a whole other business. So that's how that got started. And then the following year it happened again. So grateful. I don't even know how that happens. I participated in the weekend hashtag projects and got featured in one of those in 2014. So I feel like that maybe led to the initial suggested user situation, and I just feel like what the heck, like what was even going on? So up until the end of 2016, I was shooting everything you can think of: food, drinks, restaurant menus, I mean, events, weddings, portraits, I would take everything I could, and I was doing Instagram promotions. So my plate was full. 2016 was the busiest year of my life, and December of 2016, I decided to close the door on weddings and portraits and really focus on my brand and start the print shop and get things going where I could really focus on brands that I love working with and coming up with creative concepts. And I just found that that was something that I really enjoyed over everything else. So that's what I'm focusing on now, and that is my story. I'm done. How do you get work as a freelancer on a consistent basis? Do you have multiple stems of income? Well, we just touched on that a little bit. I think getting work consistently really comes from you and how badly you want it, and I've just had to learn over the years that I have to show up for myself no matter what, because there is no one in this apartment telling me what to do except for me. So it's really interesting because I've been doing this for so many years that it's so in me that it's my instinct, and I live it and I breathe it, and it's my everything, so I have to show up for it. And I think that the consistency with getting jobs comes from connections and being on time with those clients, being creative and efficient, and just showing up and being yourself. So in terms of getting started, I mean, I told you my story, but I think that if you're looking to freelance right now and you're not yet, I think that the best way to start is just by putting yourself out there, giving it your best foot forward. And I mean, like, do it on the weekends, do it at night, do everything to make sure that you are being seen in the best way that you can be and the best way for you. So it will reflect when people see. You never know who's watching, and just show up for yourself. I think that's the main thing. So one thing I really love about my job is that I get to do something different every day, and I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I never talk about on Instagram, like helping different brands with curating their feeds on Instagram, and I have just really grown to love that, and it's such a fun process to work with cool companies that believe in your vision and curation, and that's been super fun. I have been doing more photo shoots lately and working with brands on Instagram, and the print shop has been more fulfilling than I can express. So that is my love right now. I could talk about it all day. Next question, what equipment do you have? I will tell you right now. The camera that's filming me right now is a Nikon D7200 with a 24-85 2.8 lens, which is so beautiful and silky. I would highly recommend. There's so many great lenses out there, and I really think that investing in your lens is as equally important as your body. So I'm not a technical photographer. I personally don't think that you need to have the best camera out there to be a great photographer. I think that it's all about who's behind the lens, and then how you choose to take the photo, and then how you choose to treat it when it's out of the camera. So that's my little 2 cents tangent on what camera I have. I have other Nikons in my camera bag that are technically backups. When I would have assistants shoot with me on weddings or just assist me in general, I would give them the next Nikon down, basically, which was a D7000, which I don't really use anymore. It's a little bit older, so my D7200 is my main. My drone is a DJI Mavic Pro, and it has brought me so much joy over the past 9 months, it's almost been, and I just get a kick out of that thing. It's so much fun to use. My iPhone is a 7 Plus. I use it more than anything else. More often than not, I get some of my favorite photos on my phone, and it's the best. I mean, you can't beat something that can go in your pocket, you know what I'm saying? So that's great. That is my short and sweet list of equipment, and I will keep you posted if I get anything new, I'm sure. I also have an Instax, but I don't know if that counts. It counts. Instax counts. Next question. How do you make your IG feed more consistent? That's a good one. I want to speak to this question in more of a technical way. So being consistent in your Instagram in terms of the visuals. And I think that this is kind of a debate right now because there's a lot of people saying like we're sick of seeing such a perfectly curated feed. And then there's the other side where it's like, well, it's my brand and this is the way I want to present myself and these are the colors I like right now and they all go together. So my take on it is do whatever makes you happy, and if that means that you are using all the same filter and you want to make it look very curated, then go for it. I think that that's so cool and it's such an art. It really is. If you can pull that off and make it look dynamite, then you're an artist and I applaud you. On the other hand, there are so many accounts that I follow and love to death that just are off the cuff and a little bit more unplanned, and there's an authenticity to it and their stories are so funny and it's all about what you love. But in terms of making it visually consistent, I would say stick to 1 or 2 or 3 filters maybe and use a grid planning app. A Color Story, my love and my light, just came out with a new grid feature on the new 2.0 release, and it's awesome for seeing what colors go together, and it's fun for me, honestly. I find it very enjoyable. Consistency in terms of posting and your captions and your presence online, that all comes from just being yourself and really looking at what you love to see and making that into your own. So be inspired by other people and twist it into who you are, and then put yourself out there in a way that you would want to be seen and heard, and I think it all falls into place from there. But visually speaking, definitely go with a grid planning situation and tweak it from there. Like if something needs to be more green or more purple or more blue or more yellow, you can look and compare and see what you need to fix about the other one. You see where I'm going? So if you want to see me do a whole video on how I plan my photos and how I make everything look kind of the same color scheme, let me know in the comments in this video. Next. Do you ever postpone doing something or going somewhere because it won't align with your feed? Absolutely not. Next question. How did you grow your following on Instagram, and what are some ways to stand out as it's becoming more saturated? All right. If you are looking to attract a new audience or gain followers, one of the best ways that I've found to do that is by getting reposted onto a big account. And this all comes from different strategies, and there's so many different roads to go down in terms of how to have that happen, but there are so many great hashtags out there, and it also allows you to be a part of different communities where people find you that are like you. So it all comes back around. Something that I started doing in the past couple of months was being a little bit more candid on stories, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might know what I'm talking about. I just kind of jump on there sometimes and start talking, and it gets a little weird. So that, in conjunction with not even really thinking about gaining a following, I would say, really has helped me form more of a community, and I feel better about what I'm doing online. It's really brought me a lot of joy because of the people that respond, and we start conversations, and it's just so much more fun to be yourself and not really care about what's actually going on. I think that's the main point, is when you start to not think about it is when things really happen, and that can be so hard. And trust me, I have been there for long periods of time and for many years at a time, trust me. But when you start to let go and not look at actually what's happening and just enjoy it and stay consistent, it gets kind of cool and you get a lot of fulfillment out of it, just saying. So the second part to this is ways to stand out. And I know that that just seems super daunting, especially if you're first starting out. It's like, what am I even doing here? What's the point? I'm not good enough. Like, those are all things that I've thought in the past, and I know that other people have too, and that's not why we need to be on this platform. It's because we love having a creative outlet and we enjoy communicating with other people that have similar interests, and we love being inspired and seeing other photographers, and it's just all about how you look at it. And if you wake up with a positive attitude and you know that you can stand out and you think of ways that are maybe outside the box in terms of visuals or ways to challenge yourself, or maybe you've never put your face on stories before and you've wanted to, but you haven't yet, maybe just do it today. Just start doing it today and see what happens. I will say that, like, again, for the second time, I have been enjoying it so much, and I know that being on camera isn't for everyone, but I think that no matter who you are, people are not going to judge you for being on camera. It's really weird. It's a weird thing. Sometimes I like kind of have a trip out moment about everything that's going on right now, but it's just, it's so interesting, and I think that you can gain so much confidence from doing it. So highly recommend. I definitely think that it's worth a shot if you've been thinking about it. So that's my 2 cents. What do you use for digital organization on the computer? It's a great question. I work in Lightroom primarily, and this program is phenomenal for digital workflow. I can't even, it's everything. If you want to be super organized with your photography and you want to have catalogs that are organized and a strip of photos that you can just breeze through and batch edit, it's the best. Lightroom is the way, trust me. So I had to teach myself how to use Lightroom, and it's been quite a few years now. I feel like it's been maybe 4 or 5 years that I've been using it full time with my client work, and I just love everything about it. Train alert, break for the train. Photoshop I do use to this day, and I will say that I can take multiple bodies out of a group photo and have it look fairly seamless. Really versatile in terms of what you can do with image manipulation and text and so many different things. I love Photoshop. But I use Lightroom for my professional work, and when I have a photo shoot, that's where it all goes into. And if you want to see a Lightroom tutorial, holler at your girl, because I'm probably going to do one anyway, so don't worry about hollering, because I will do one. Thank you. How do you decide what's on brand for you and who to partner with? Ooh. If it makes sense for me, I will do it, and it's just all about instinct and what I think you guys would love too. And if I love something and I genuinely want to share it with you, you will hear about it from me. So I will continue to do that, and scene. All right, my friends, that is it for this Q&A. I really hope you enjoyed it and took something out of it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. And I would love to hear from you in the comments if you want to see any tutorials on my Lightroom workflow or the way that I plan out my Instagram feed. And those will be quite fun. So holler in the comments, I'll be sure to read. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.